Hollywood is here in its America-hating garbage, attacking our families, attacking our values, attacking Christians. I mean, it is just a free-for-all of mercenaries, criminals, pedophiles, radical Islamicists, infiltrating every facet of our government. The Pentagon war planners have rightfully said that 90% of modern warfare is informational. That's why it's more important than ever that all of you watching subscribe on YouTube, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter at Real Alex Jones, because InfoWars is the front line of the fight. And without your help and support, we will fail. With your support and with your prayers, we will be victorious against the globalists together.
It is not, under my understanding, the Capitol Police is not able to confiscate members' equipment when the member is not under investigation. It is their equipment, and it's supposed to be returned.
Well, I think there's extenuating circumstances in this case, and I think that, you know, working through my counsel and you know, the necessary personnel, if that in fact is the case, and with the permission of through the investigation, then we'll return the equipment. But until that's accomplished, I can't return the equipment.
I think you're violating the rules when you conduct your business that way, and should expect that there would be consequences.
Here's the headline: Wasserman Schultz under pressure to testify on ex-IT aide complaint filed. We've now got filings in Congress by members of Congress calling for larger hearings on criminal activity by Obama, Hillary, Bill Clinton, James Comey. The list goes on and on. This is a headline out of Fox News. Wasserman Schultz under pressure to testify on ex-IT aide complaint filed. Democratic Rep. Debbie Wasserman Schultz is coming under mounting pressure to explain why she kept an IT aide on the payroll for months after a criminal investigation was revealed, facing calls from Republicans to testify, as well as a newly filed ethics complaint. And now, of course, they've caught one of those aides trying to flee the country. This on top of them finding laptops shoved in behind some books in a crevice. And the Capitol Police investigated, and it's the master files for the DNC. And, of course, we know who was in control of that. His name's Seth Rich. He got gunned down, shot in the back. That's an unsolved murder. But now in America, that's called being a conspiracy theorist. They have headlines out there that I'm hatefully attacking the family, and so is Sean Hannity, for even questioning this. Now, it's almost like we killed Seth Rich. It's like questioning Sandy Hook when they lied about babies in incubators and their brains bashed out, and so many other fake events that my listeners questioned Sandy Hook. We questioned it, and now it's all over the news every day. He's the one that hates the children at Sandy Hook. He's the one that hates the families. He's the one. And the few mental patients that come up to me on the street, they go, how dare you not care about those kids? They don't care about the million dead Iraqis from sanctions. They don't care about all the other lies, the Arab Spring, the hundreds of thousands of dead Christians funded and supported by Obama and Hillary. They don't care about Libya, the failed state. They don't care about the civil war started by our government in Ukraine. They don't care about the tens of millions of aborted babies. They don't care about babies kept alive and their body parts sold, according to the Associated Press. They keep them alive till they harvest their organs. They get them out of mama in a partial birth, keep the baby alive, harvest it. They don't care about that. They morally get upset when CNN tells them to. Of course we're questioning, and we're going to go on questioning until we get to the bottom of all of these events. But she's the Democrat rep over funding of D.C. And she's in there telling the police that you're going to pay. The full clip, she threatens them. It goes on and on. We've played the clip many times. If they don't hand over these laptops that are already the subject of a criminal investigation, these brothers that are under criminal investigation, you've got a murder in the middle of this, and she's telling the police, you better watch it. And they're telling all of us, you better watch what you say. You better watch what you do. You better keep your mouth shut. Or we're going to come after you. You drop Seth Rich, and you drop these brothers, and you drop Pakistan, and you keep your mouth shut. And we know our government has been completely penetrated by any foreign government, any intelligence group, any private corporation that wants to get in there. It's called a free-for-all. We got us a rock and roll band. It's a free-for-all. We ought to go out playing a minute or so of Ted Nugent's free-for-all. But this isn't a fun free-for-all. We were having fun with a rock concert, so the girls are dancing around. This is a free-for-all with the communist Chinese, the Russians to a very lesser extent. I'm not defending the Russians. It's a fact. I mean, the Democrats had this country's legs up behind its ears for anybody that wanted to come in to have their way with it. And then they just point at the Russians because they've stumbled through the gang rape occasionally. The Chinese basically run this country. The Chinese communists. Then you got the EU bureaucrats, the big mega banks that have allied with China. Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan openly admitting they have. You've got the Vatican and all its mega banking power that dwarfs Russia. Of course, it doesn't really want any part of the gang rape. It likes little kids, if you like that allegory. All of this is going on. And Hollywood is here in its America-hating garbage, attacking our families, attacking our values, attacking Christians. I mean, it is just a free-for-all of mercenaries, criminals, pedophiles, radical Islamicists infiltrating every facet of our government. Saudi princes buying up News Corps. The communist Chinese buying up controlling interests in all 6 major production companies, major studios in California. I remember like 6, 7 years ago, I said the Arabs are buying control of Hollywood. I didn't say they own the whole thing. I said they're trying to buy it up. And it was a big joke on the internet. Oh, yeah, everybody knows, you know, who owns Hollywood. I was out in Hollywood, and folks were pointing out to me that the studios were being bought up by China and by Islamic groups. And now that's all over the news 7, 8 years ago. I was just telling you what was being reported to me by people at the highest levels. But it's Hollywood and the globalists allied with communist China. It's like Lloyd Blankfein a month and a half ago during Infrastructure Week, when Trump was trying to focus on our infrastructure, how it's going from first world to third world very, very quickly. And he said, oh, I just got back from China. Incredible. Best infrastructure ever. Boy, they know how to do it. We're moving our investments there. They're the place. Trump. Ha ha, you're pathetic. How's your infrastructure week going? Taunting the president, betting against America, celebrating communist China's ascension. The Dragon's Century, built on slave labor, built on Foxconn slavery, built on Walmart slave goods and Amazon slave goods and Apple iPhone slave goods. But it's okay that Apple has the worst slave factories with their contractor, with suicide nets in the stairwells and roofs, and forced abortions and 18-hour workdays. It's okay because it's liberal. And as long as you're liberal, CNN, MSNBC, Trevor Noah, John Oliver, the anointed screenwriters, teleprompter readers. I mean, you realize that Stephen Colbert and John Oliver and all these people aren't real. They're little facsimiles that make certain hand gestures and certain facial gestures. They play a laugh track. They're so cheap, there aren't even real studio audiences most of the time. And when they are, they tell them when to applause with big signs that say applause, with a person out there telling them raise their hands up. I've been on these shows. They bring in the studio audience of the types of folks that want to go to New York and L.A. and go see a live mainstream show. I mean, that might have been cool 30 years ago. It's super uncool. And you're sitting there looking at the people they bring in. A lot of them are homeless if they can't fill the bleachers. So you got some homeless guy who's drunk a fifth of scotch up there sitting in his own feces. Seriously. I've seen them remove homeless people that are crapping too much or urinating too much on the steps, on the bleachers. And they're in there like 50, 100 people, and they have big signs that say applause, but people won't applause when those are going, so they'll have some trendy out there with their hands going, come on, waving, come on, applause, applause. But more and more, they don't trust even those audiences, so they just have a laugh track going. And then they call us fake. Guys that read off teleprompters that 10, 20, 30, 40 writers. Some of these shows, like The Late Show, have over 100 writers. And they sit there poring over every single thing I do and I say to then twist it and to lie and to attack. Why? Because they know we've got their number. And they're so scared that we're going to break the news as it comes out that's going to put them to the bottom of the ocean politically. Because we've already torpedoed Hillary. And we've already torpedoed Obama. We've already torpedoed their carbon tax. We've already torpedoed their open borders. We've already torpedoed much of their operation thanks to you. And so they're in full panic mode and want to brand InfoWars as the scourge of the earth. So as soon as somebody sees something from InfoWars, they just don't even look at it out of hand. But that doesn't work because they're the scourge. And so the free-minded, open-minded, libertarian, patriot type, not even conservative or liberal, just pro-prosperity, pro-common sense, pro-Americana, you know, not North Korea-kana, not Venezuela-kana, not Soviet-kana, not fascist-kana, prosperity-kana, common sense-kana, don't want to blow your brains out-kana, enjoy life-kana, have a great outlook-kana, but no, we got to deal with the crisis of tyranny-kana, of mental illness-kana, of sabotage-kana. Because we want freedom-kana, self-defense-kana. But we produced the byproduct of a bunch of spoiled, rotten people running around doing whatever they want, bitching and complaining, because folks that really work hard have got so much success. And the ultra-rich know that the giant unwashed mass thinks the guy that has $100 more than them is rich. So they teach them you get ahead by pulling down the middle class when that's actually the stairway for them into success. But you dynamite that, well, now you've got an elite that always consolidates control over the mass. And I know you know that, but that's the big issue. That's the big key. That's the big secret of the social class warfare that they're cranking up. I mean, just look at this. Marie Claire Ryder whines, Dunkirk movie, an excuse for men to celebrate maleness. I haven't gone and seen this movie yet because I've read books about Dunkirk, watched, you know, PBS shows about it. I know all about it. Here's the 60-second boil down. The Nazis go into Czechoslovakia, they go into Austria, they go into these other areas. They think that they're invincible. So they go ahead then and go into France. The French military completely gives up because they'd already been paid off beforehand to stand down. That's why they set up a dictatorship called the Vichy French out of the south of France, out of Vichy. +400,000 person force of Brits gets driven to the sea at Dunkirk. There's no evacuation force because they don't have a big enough British Navy to even be able to dock there. And for weeks, the Luftwaffe sits there and bombs them on the beach and strafes them and kills them. So a flotilla of citizens, free market, takes action and goes and saves them. Now, of course, 99% of the people were white. Maybe 1% was India. And so they've complained that there's no black people or no women, because there weren't. It's like if you made a movie about the Roman Senate and Julius Caesar getting stabbed to death, there weren't any women stabbing him or any black guys stabbing him. Just like if you made a movie about some African tribe or some African king, it would be black people because, you know, black people are black, white people are white. Make a movie about Shogun or about Japanese samurais. Guess what? They're Japanese. But they write articles where I'm mentally ill, and they write them with a straight face. So it's called gaslighting. So someone reading it through peer pressure gives into the authority of the Salon article or the Mother Jones or the USA Today. Where it says, look at this hateful bigot. And then they quote me saying, I saw the Daily Mail article headline stating that a man had given birth to a baby for the first time, and I knew it would be a woman who thinks she's a man who'd had a baby. And then I read the article, and sure enough it was, because she was a woman, not a man. Men don't have babies. Males don't have babies in any major species. There are some fish and some other animals that in emergencies can flip sexes. They have both in there as an emergency backup. But not mammals. And that's just a fact. And they go, he's a conspiracy theorist. He's a nut. Now, you're hearing this thinking, well, that's mental illness. They know full well that it's a woman who thought she was a man. It's like if I self-identified as a rooster, or if I self-identified as a walrus, or I self-identified as Count Chocula, or if I self-identified as Bill Clinton. I'm not. I'm Alexander Jones from Texas, and I'm a man, and I got 4 children, and I got a wife. But see, in liberal land, they announced, I don't have my children, even though I have my children the majority of the time. And I have my 3-month-old baby all the time. Doesn't matter. They simulate I'm a failure. They simulate I've been destroyed. They simulate that we're no longer on the air. They simulate, just like with simulated friends on their Facebook, bots, they simulate victory. But Trump coming in kind of short-circuited that because Hillary, I mean, Newsweek told us she was Madam President. She got elected. But see, I said that she didn't. But then when their great god of delusion, their matrix glitches out, they don't know what to do. Well, they responded by tripling down. They're howling and screaming and gnashing of teeth, but that's not going to work either.
In ancient times, man roamed the earth in a constant state of hunting or being hunted. Introducing Caveman, where cutting-edge science meets ancient super nutrients. Secure your bottle right now at InfoWarsStore.com.